Yeah, the last few years, to be honest, it's an IVF. It's been a real struggle, and we've had so many ups and downs. And for anyone that goes through that whole process, like, it really takes a toll. And there's, hopeful moments, and then sad moments, and then there's a little bit of hope, and then it all backfires, and then it's starting again. So yeah.
G flip.
Yo.
You straddle continents.
I do. I love a straddle.
But you're with us now. So you're in Sydney, I'm in Melbourne, I'm in your hometown.
Yes, I was just there yesterday.
And what were you doing here?
I flew in yesterday. I didn't want to fly in and have a day off in Sydney, so because my family aren't here. So sometimes I will fly into Melbourne just for a few hours to see my family, then get straight back to the airport and fly to Sydney. So
and
just
how was that? What did you do? Were you at their house or?
Yeah, so just at my place in Melbourne, and my sister and my brother-in-law and their little niece. My little niece, their little baby who's 1.5, her name's Betty Moon. She's so cute. So just hung out on the couch with them for hours until I went straight back to the airport, and that's what I do. Yeah.
And how often are you getting to do this? Because your life has, I'm going to say, in the last 5 years, what does it feel like to you where it's kind of just gone stratospheric?
I think probably after COVID. So before COVID, my career started, like, I became like a professional musician, like started doing this as my day job. And then I tried to move over to LA at the start of 2020, had my flight booked, my bags packed, and then
Something
I got a call.
Happened.
Then COVID happened.
Yeah.
And then took me till September 2021. Then I went over to the States to live. And then from there on, it just got a bit more hectic. So now I try visit every 3 to 4 months, come back.
What was it about LA that was calling you?
Definitely the music industry. Just the industry over there, it's like no other. It's like nowhere else in the world that there's that many producers, that many musicians, that many, like, if I'm in Australia, it's like there's no city that's like LA. Like Hollywood is crazy over there, and it's just it's so vibrant, and it's just everyone's over there and everyone's doing it. And I wanted to take my career to the next level, and I always thought, that was going to be the next step for me is I want to be known as an Aussie artist, but also an artist known in other territories rather than just in Australia.
And so have access to people that you can collaborate with and who you can exchange creative juices with.
Exactly, yeah. My plan was always to move over there at some point. So,
and when you say always, so you were little Georgia Flippo living in Melbourne.
Yep.
What was Georgia Flippo like?
As a kid?
Yeah.
I was very extroverted, and like my older sister was quite shy and would hide behind like mum's legs where we went anywhere. And I almost needed a leash. I would be like sprinting into every room and loud, and I was just not afraid. I had no fear as a kid. And I definitely had relentless undiagnosed ADHD.
Right.
I was like, there's videos of me as a kid, and it's like, oh yeah, that kid has ADHD.
Right, yeah. So it seems so apparent now.
Yes. And just so energetic, but I really couldn't focus. I didn't do very well in school. I was put in special like classes, and I would have to stay back at like lunchtime and recess to like learn, because I really sucked, I feel like, academically. But then I had niche things that I knew everything about. So I had certain things I was obsessed with as a kid that I'd know every little detail about till I found music, and then it was music that I was obsessed with and drums that I wanted to know everything about, and then that took me to where I am now.
And because your dad was a muso, like amateur muso, but enjoyed it enormously.
Yeah, he always, we'd talk about it, and he always felt like he was meant to be a rock star.
Right.
But his parents weren't as supportive of that idea. So he always, supported me. He always supported me so much, growing up and playing music, and we'd jam in the garage, and he'd drive me to all my first gigs as a 14-year-old, and he really backed me with all of it.
Which is interesting because partly the parental thing, I understand. How many rock stars can there be in the world? Do you know what I mean? And what's the likelihood of our kid being the rock star? So parents always have this overriding, you need to make a sensible choice. But he saw something in you, recognised obviously the same thing in himself.
Yeah.
And where did the drums come from?
The drums, so my drums was my first instrument and my first love. I got my first drum kit when I was 9 years old from my auntie and uncle because my cousin played drums, and as a 9-year-old or 8-year-old, 8-year-old, I was obsessed with his drum kit. So on my 9th birthday, I got a little drum kit for my birthday, and it was one of the greatest days of my life. And I remember they hid it in the lounge room of my grandma's house and unveiled it to me. And I remember my eyes just like popping out of my head. I was that excited about it.
And because I imagine that was the greatest day of your life, and maybe for a period the worst day in the neighbour's life. When a drum kit arrives in your nana's house.
Yes, I've never had a neighbour that likes me until I guess the last 2 years at moving into Chrishell's house, but every other neighbour has hated me with a passion. Yes.
Well, because it's not something that you can do silently, is it?
No, it's really not. And you can get an electric drum kit, but it's not the same. So, yeah, my neighbour growing up, he hated me, hated me. He would still be angry about me.
Really? And do you see that neighbour ever now?
No, he moved out when I kind of moved out of home. So, yeah.
Oh, that's annoying. That's really annoying because you want that redemption arc where you come into town on the tray truck that you're playing in your new film clip, and the neighbour's just got to suck it up.
Yeah. No, I hope sometimes I think about when my tour poster is around on buses, or I hope he sees it. He's like, some people are like, I hope my ex sees my face, but I'm like, I hope that neighbour growing up sees me.
It's a very interesting thing because I think things seem in retrospect, if you look back, you're like, that was my pathway, and my pathway was quite clear. It's led you to here.
Yes.
When you were a kid, what did you see for yourself?
When I was a kid, so my first I think it wasn't until I got my drums. Before I got my drums, I was obsessed with cars and I wanted to be a taxi driver. And then I got my drums, and then when I got my drums, everything changed and I wanted to be a rock star or in a band. But I also thought maybe I wanted to get into acting. And then I also wanted to be a singer. So there was all these different things, but I never got singing lessons ever. I only ever had drum lessons. And
so you thought, when did you let the dream of being a taxi driver go?
I know. I think when I got my drums, I think when I was 9 years old, then the taxi driver went away. I just was obsessed with cars as a kid. I knew every make and model. I'd research what fuel injection each model would have and what alloy wheels would come with each model. And all I wanted to do on a weekend is go to car yards with my dad. It was this weird obsession I had.
Wow.
And then a taxi driver, and then, got drums. And then I think it started to form that I wanted to be a musician.
Which is just as well because I mean, AI hasn't overtaken the skill of a drummer yet, but there is a thing called Uber that has meant that a lot of taxi drivers are not living their destiny that they dreamt for themselves.
Yeah. You know, I still love driving cars. You know, maybe later in life I'll become an Uber driver. My stepdad's an Uber driver, so yeah, you never know.
And so when you took to drumming, I'm going to say like a fish to water, because it's like a very natural relationship that you have.
Yeah.
There's a real ease to it. Did you allow yourself to project a future in which that was going to be your life?
Yeah, it was always in me, and I like really fell in love with drums, and I had this passion. It was the only thing that I could stay still and do. I couldn't really stay still and do anything, but drums, I would sit there for hours. And then it wasn't until I met my drum teacher in year 7, Jenny Rose Morrish, who was like, to me, like the coolest person, and I wanted to be exactly like them. They were like the coolest chick and played in a band and sang backing vocals. And then having her as my teacher, I feel like when your brain is like forming at those like early teenage years and you're figuring yourself out and what your dreams are going to be and what you want to be when you're older and who you want to look up to, she really became my like person who I wanted to be exactly like. And so she was a drummer in a band, so I wanted to be a drummer in a band.
Those people are so important. And if you're a kid that is a little bit different, or probably any kid really, but especially if you're a kid that feels a bit different, all it takes is one person to see you and to see the complete you that you can't even necessarily see yourself at the time.
Yeah.
To change everything.
100%. And definitely Jenny was that for me. And that, I think drums took me on a path, and then Jenny just like solidified that path, and then it never ended.
And then she wanted what for you?
So she, after high school, did a Bachelor of Music and majored in percussion, and I wanted to do the exact same course as her because I wanted to do everything she did. So I wanted to study music and major in drums, and she helped me with my auditions to get into uni to study music, and then I got in. And then not too long after that, she passed away, and then I kind of remember wanting to go on a mission to fulfill everything that we talked about growing up. And like us in the practice room in high school, because she taught me for my whole high school, we talk about how we're going to tour the world and we're going to see America and we're going to live on a tour bus and we're going to do this and all the coolest things. So when she passed away, it was like it really like hit me like, holy shit, like I want to go do everything that we talked about, you know?
The day that you got into your course, which those auditions are intense.
Yeah.
Like many are called but few are chosen.
Yes.
Who was the first person that you called when you got in?
I think I got an email. So I remember like screaming at home and then, texting Jenny because we went through all the drum pieces together and I knew I was going to get in because I practiced so hard. Like I was so ready for it. But Jenny and then my family who were home, because I just wanted to get into that course because it was based not on academics. So which I wasn't good at. So I was like I really, really wanted to get in there and study music. And then during that course is when I realized that I would always sing backing vocals. But there was this one class we had where there was too many drummers and not enough singers. So I put my hand up to be the lead singer when I think I was like 19 or 20. And I sang James Brown, and the university, they thought I was really good that they asked me if I wanted to move over to the singing course from the drumming course. And that was kind of the first taste that I just didn't know. I didn't know I could sing well, and then that really gave me the confidence because I'd never had a lesson. So that gave me the confidence to be like, oh, maybe I'm an all right singer, I guess.
That's interesting because when I first heard about you, I was living in Italy, and in fact it was our mutual friend Pete Hellier who told me about you.
Yeah, my Collingwood bro.
Yeah, your Collingwood bro. Boo. But I was at a time thinking, I don't really know many singing drummers. I knew Cram from Spiderbait.
Yes, love Cram.
Yeah, and that because it's not really a very common model.
No, it's not. And growing up, Cram was one of the first people I saw drumming and singing.
Oh,
and
really?
yeah, and now he's a buddy of mine and we've played some shows together. But he was kind of the first person I ever saw on TV singing and drumming, and that really opened up my eyes. And especially because Jenny did backing vocals, then it made me learn. And then we used to practice. Jenny taught me, she'd make me drum and then have a conversation with her so I could put my body on autopilot and she'd ask me questions.
Right, which means that later on when you're singing, you can drum and the lyrics will come.
Yeah, it just puts my body's always on autopilot, and basically all I'm thinking about is the singing and remembering lyrics. My body is on autopilot, and because Jenny taught me that from a young age, I used to just drum while my brain's just thinking about answering questions that she's asking me. So that split my brain kind of in two.
And for the ADHD, that would actually be really good.
Yeah. It was, you know, I love doing multiple things at once because my brain, how it works is I've got like a tab open of like 10 files in my brain that is thinking all the time. Inspired me a lot. And then, I just started writing my own music then.
And then do you think that Jenny saw you, so she saw the musical side of you, but that's a very intimate relationship between a teacher who's taught you so much.
Yes.
And like I said, sees the entirety of you. What did she see of you when it comes to gender, do you think?
I think with gender back then, it wasn't in our vocabulary. It wasn't talked about. Like not being non-binary wasn't really a thing then, but being like queer and like being a lesbian, I think she definitely saw me because she said, I remember her saying something to me when I was like, I'm going to say like 14 or something. She's like, she said something like, one day when you're older, like you'll figure out like who you truly are and it's going to be so magical for you. Said something in those words and I always remember it, and I always remember being like, what did she mean? And then it wasn't till later that like I first got with a woman for the first time that I was like, man, like Jenny knew me so like she also said, I remember her saying, I don't know what you're going to do with your life, but it's going to be something like, and it makes me like tear up when I think about it because it's like, oh my God. So I really feel like she's like a guardian angel to me or something.
Yeah. Well, she is.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, she is, and she was and she is, because I think when you have a relationship like that, the energy of it stays with you.
Yeah.
And now you're carrying her dreams as well.
Yeah.
Like beyond, I would think, imagining. Did you imagine stuff for yourself?
Like I feel like it's almost like I was delusional. Like I really thought everything was possible. I thought like if I wanted to drum for the biggest artist in the world, like I can figure out a way to make that happen. Like I always thought everything was possible. Like there was never anything that I thought wasn't possible. And I don't know where I got that from and I don't know how that happened, but that's always how my brain operated. So when it came to me deciding to stop playing drums for other people because I did that for a while, playing drums for other bands. And when I really decided to change gears and that I'm going to go for being a solo artist now, because it was always kind of knocking at me in the back of my head being like, you should be a solo artist, you should be a solo artist. But I was always kind of hiding behind the drums and playing for other bands.
And session is like dreams for some people as well. Like there's no shame in that.
No.
But you had the calling. What did that feel like, that calling?
I just remember when I was like 14, 15, so I always played drums, but then I started teaching myself guitar and piano and I'd run home from the school bus, and before my family all came home, I just want alone time so I could write songs and I'd play on my little shitty Casio keyboard and my first little guitar and I'd just write songs. And I remember delusionally thinking like, these songs are so good. Like I'm such a good songwriter, and they would be horrible songs. But I remember the delusionalness in my brain being like encouraging me, made me thought that I was a really, really talented songwriter. And I was like, these are such good songs. They're so catchy. And then that kept carrying on. And while I was playing drums for other people, I was always writing songs and then teaching myself how to produce music and record music. And then, you know, so always in my head it was like, it was also the band I was playing with, we couldn't share song ideas. It was just his songs. So then I couldn't have input.
With your brilliant songs that you were writing.
Yeah. So, yeah, it was always when that band, the last band I played for, finished, then it was like, I think it's time to do the solo thing. And, you know, the way that my brain works is like it's always possible, so we'll figure out how to get there.
It's funny you say delusional, but you weren't delusional.
Yeah, but I think it's at I find a lot of people that I've met that have, I don't know, become successful musicians. It's this crazy belief we have in ourselves when we haven't even sharpened our skills yet. Like when those, like I used to think then that, oh yeah, I'm going to be a super successful artist, but my skills, like I could barely sing. I could barely rock a guitar solo. Like my skills weren't sharpened. And now that I'm older, I can identify that and look back and be like, man, like the confidence I had, the confidence was insane. Like, and I was never outwardly arrogant about it. I never told anyone this. I always kept it as my little secret that I wanted to be a solo artist. I never shared it with anyone.
You knew that you were going to get into, was it the conservatorium? Course, your drumming course?
Yeah, it was a Bachelor of Music majoring in drums.
Now, you said when you were talking about that, you knew you were going to get in because you'd worked so hard.
Yes.
Now, I reckon that's a through line, and that's the divide between people that might have some delulu notion about what they want for their future.
Yeah.
Versus what makes that happen.
Yeah.
And your work ethic is phenomenal.
Thank you. Yeah, I do work a lot. I don't know how to not work, actually. It's kind of unhealthy, but yeah, even with those auditions, I would rehearse everything that they were going to even ask me. So I'd thought about every possible question they could ask me, so I had rehearsed sharp, perfected answers. And even when I'd audition for bands, you'd have to audition 3 songs. I'd learn their entire catalogue just in case, and backing vocals, so that when I'd go into an audition, I could be like, hey, you've played those 3 songs all day. How about we play this song or that song or that song? So I think for me, I've always over-prepared like so much that it's like if I did an audition, like it'd be really hard to turn me down. So even with my career, I did absolutely just everything possible. So it felt like I'd opened the door in so many avenues that at least one of the routes is going to work.
Because I always think there's so many ways to f yourself up, and there's so many ways that the external world can trip you up as well. You don't need to trip yourself up through lack of preparation.
No. No. Yeah.
And at what point did you start to feel the momentum of all of that coming together? So you're singing, you're drumming, you've got the call to America. Mm-hmm. Was there a moment where you went, oh, I think G-Flip's going to do this, I think?
Yeah. There was definitely one defining moment. So after I left that last band, I gave myself 1 year to basically find management or a label, and I had no connections in the Australian music scene, but I gave myself about a year to figure it out. So I made Excel spreadsheets of the whole music industry in Australia. I had everyone's details from Triple J, all the booking agents, Spotify playlisters, and I made this insane spreadsheet of the whole music industry. And then I was so relentless. I was just insane, and I wanted to write my hit list of who I wanted to be my publicist and my booking agent, and then I wrote and produced as many songs in my bedroom. And it's all I thought about for a year. I went sober. I didn't really see my friends. All my friends would come over on the weekend and help me make my spreadsheets, which is very cute of them.
Crafting.
And then I started going to all these in the Australian music scene. They have like Music Week in Melbourne, and they have Music Week in Sydney. And you'd go listen to managers and labels talk about the industry, and I would go there, and my whole plan was that I'm going to talk to that manager afterwards and give him my demos, and I'm going to talk to that booking agent and learn more about the industry. And I was just so obsessed with it. And then this one manager, I walked up and said, hey, you should listen to my demos. I'm like Dave Grohl from Nirvana, like played drums in a band, but now I'm a lead singer and I write the music, and you're going to love my demos if you give me a shot. Just have a listen. And he looked at me and said, your confidence is so crazy. I'm actually going to listen to your demos. And then he listened to the demos and then sent me a message and said, hey, come to my office Monday morning. And then I remember just driving my car and calling my dad and being like, holy shit. And I'd worked the whole year to the point, and I'd got my database, and I was about to blast email everyone but my demos. But then that one manager heard it first, and then he wanted to sign me for management and label. So then I took his name, and then I messaged as many people as I could in the Australian music industry and said, he wants to sign me, so you should listen to my demos. And then everyone that I sent them listened to my demos, and then I just got to meet heaps of different people in the music industry and
Did you turn yourself into a bidding war?
I did.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. And then that all happened, and at the same time I had my first single, About You, and I was obsessed with Triple J Unearthed, this platform, and I was a super user. I was so obsessed with it. I would write reviews because I knew at some stage I'm going to have a single and I want to have a direct contact that I can give my song to them, because this is how my brain works. I wanted every avenue to work. So even the Triple J thing, I was a super user, and then Max Quinn, I had his email. And this doesn't mean that you get on the air, but it means you just have the email of the guy that works at Triple J Unearthed for me to just send him and be like, hey, I uploaded a song today. And then this was the day that, to answer your question, that I remember everything feeling like, holy shit, I think it's going to work, is that song that I uploaded to Triple J Unearthed blew up and then went on the air on Triple J and started going psycho online. And then I remember going to bed that night, and I've documented all of this, actually, all of this story I'm telling you.
I'm not surprised.
Yeah, there's real life videos of me talking about it, but I have a video of me going to sleep that night and being like, holy shit, I don't think I'm going to have to, teach drum lessons anymore, and I don't think I'm going to have to hand out pamphlets at Rod Laver Arena anymore. Like, I think I'm I think I've made it, even though it was just the first. I just got a spin, but it just made me think that, I think I'm going to be okay here and I'm going to be able to do this for the rest of my life.
Did you send a little prayer up to Jenny at that time?
Yeah, definitely. Obviously, Jenny's always in the back of my head. And when the song came out, it was actually it was on her birthday.
Oh,
that
really?
It came out. Yeah.
Oh, really?
It's either I get these two confused. Either when she passed or it's on her birthday. But those dates
significant.
Yeah, that was pretty special. And yeah, and then I just woke up and then everything changed and I had to message all because I was teaching drum students in my bedroom and I had to message them all and say, I'm so sorry I won't be able to teach all of you anymore.
Well, you dropped them straight away.
Yeah, my life changed the next day.
Wow. And
Because
when you say changed, what did that look like? Gigs or appointments or sessions?
Yeah. So my song went viral online and it hadn't even been released yet. It was just on Triple J on the website. So it wasn't even a released song. I just uploaded it to the website platform. But overnight it went global and it became Pitchfork's Best New Song, which is like a big deal in the US. Yeah. And then I started getting gig offers at South by Southwest in Texas.
Oh,
which
really?
Which was in 2 weeks' time. So I had 2 weeks to find a band and then play my first show, which luckily I'm such a freak and I prepared my whole entire show already. So I was ready for that exact moment because, if I hadn't planned it all out first, I would have been in trouble. But I already had my show and my band members and thought exactly about what my live show would be. So then 2 weeks later from there, I was in the States and playing my very first shows.
And was that your first time in the States?
No, I'd been in the States before drumming for other bands.
Right, but in your own right.
Yeah, this was the first time being G Flip, and then had my first show as G Flip, and then it began and it never stopped.
No, it never stopped. And then concurrently with that, because I do believe that as an artist particularly, the more that you can step into yourself, the more everything else blossoms.
Yeah.
And so often those things that you grapple with about yourself or that you think you can't share are the very things that give you that are the wind in your wings. So with your, I don't know, do you say self-discovery or your revelations about yourself or the binary, your non-binary thing, what was the compulsion then that you went, I just need to share this with the famous, hey, motherfuckers, I'm non-binary.
I guess I was overtly queer and I've had multiple partners that I'd write songs about and, in my music videos they were very queer leaning. And then just as I evolved as a human being, I learnt about and I would see like Sam Smith and Demi Lovato at the time and people would come out non-binary and I educated myself on what that was. And then I remember like really reading and understanding it and then being like, oh my God, that's like so me to a T. And then when I would try to explain being non-binary to my friends or family members, then I would kind of use myself as an example. And it just felt, it's just so me. I just feel so non-binary and if you don't get it, it's because you're probably not non-binary. I just feel so like a blend of genders. I just feel like the most gender smoothie motherfucker ever. And I've felt like that from a very young age. I'd look at myself in the mirror and I'd be like, because I went to Catholic school and I'd be like, wow, God really, he ran out of girl insides and brain and I think he just put a bit of boy brain or insides in me because I feel like a mix. And I'm like 7 years old, 8 years old thinking that. And then to me, like that's the most non-binary thing for most non-binary thing for a 7-year-old to think that
God made you that way.
Yeah. And obviously then there was no vocabulary for being non-binary. Like I didn't know that was a thing. But I look back on my childhood and being non-binary makes so much sense. I've always felt, and for every non-binary person it's different where you fall on the spectrum, but I feel pretty 50-50 in the middle of like female, male, mix of gender. And the best way I can describe it, that's just who I am and I don't know how to change it. So when people get in my DMs being hectic, it's like I can't change this.
Yes. When you told your family, did it make the same sense to them or to your mum or to your dad or to your sister? Who of them was the one that was like, yeah, I see that the most?
Probably my sister the most. I feel like my mum and dad kind of didn't understand it because it was quite a while ago now. So I feel like now they're so educated on it because I'm their kid. But back then they did struggle to understand pronouns and just figure out. And I feel like for that age group, like they're in their early 60s. So it is kind of harder, but for them to grapple the idea of it.
I saw your dad do a cute thing actually on 60 Minutes where he said, sometimes I misgender them.
Yeah.
And I thought
so
that is, you just ask for people to rise to meet you, really.
Yeah. It's, and it's kind of a respect thing. It's like, that's what I go by. And like, even if you stuff it up and completely fail and stuff up my pronouns, as long as you're like, oh, fuck, sorry, G, and then you correct yourself or you just correct yourself. Like so many of my mates will accidentally say she and then be like, oh, they, and then just keep talking and, it's normal.
How was your meeting with Chrishell? Because at that point, so she's a massive star in the States.
Yes.
Selling Sunset. She's had romantic entanglements on that show. She's been doing it for so long. There's no secrets about her life really.
No.
And then you two meet. You meet at a party?
Yeah, our first meet was at a Halloween party that Tones and I had.
Oh, what did you
LA.
go as? What was your costume?
I was a skeleton,
Right.
and so was Chrishell.
Oh, really?
So that's why we have a thing with skeletons. That's why I've got skeletons tattooed on my arms, and our wedding rings have skeletons on them.
Oh.
So yeah, we met. She was a really hot skeleton. I got I literally found like some eyeliner pencil and just like blacked my eyes out and found like a kid's T-shirt from Target that had bones on it and cut the sleeves off. So I was a $15 skeleton. She was like a really put together, good looking skeleton.
Well, she is a very good looking skeleton.
She's insane looking. Yeah.
And from the moment you met the skeletons, like what was that moment? You were introduced to each other or you went up and you talked to her or she came up to you? Can you remember your encounter, your skeleton encounter?
Yeah, first time we met was one of Tone's best mates, Talia, was at the front of this venue and was like, "Oi, G, come over, meet Chrishell." And then I was like, all right. And then I just came over and we shook hands and I said, hey, and she said, hey. And then I was like, you're a really good looking skeleton and I'm a not so good looking skeleton. But it wasn't like romantic or anything. It was just a friend group meeting a friend group. It wasn't till like 6 months later or something that then some sparks flew. Yeah.
Which was probably more straightforward for you at that time than it was for her because she didn't think that she was going to be a lesbian or
No.
right?
Yeah.
She was straight as far as she knew, and maybe still is, but loves who she loves.
Yeah. She doesn't really know what to call herself. Like, the word is really pansexual, and when you're pansexual, you're just attracted to energy. It's not really a gender, it's the person. But she personally hates the word pansexual.
Yeah, pansexual it's sort of hard to casually toss that in.
Yeah, it's a kind of ugly word. So she's like, no, I don't want to identify as that. So she just says like she falls in love with energy and people and who they are. And I guess, that's the case with us. And we've been together now over 3 years.
And that's amazing because I've heard you tell the story about when you asked her out after you'd had a couple of, encounters. And she said, I'm really sorry. Yeah. I'm straight.
Yes, she did. I just thought, well, we haven't been very straight together recently. That's what I thought. Like the last few times we've had little kisses here and there, that wasn't very straight, darling. But that's what I thought. But I just said, oh, okay, no worries. And then a week after, I sent her some houses that because she's a real estate agent.
Yes.
And I was going to try rent a house in LA after my tour finished. So I sent her some houses and I was like, is this a good price range for where it is and the location and whatever? And then she offered to come and look at the houses with me. And then that was our first date.
Did you know at the time it was a date, or it was only in retrospect?
I think I knew it was a date because, in my head she just told me she was straight and not interested. And then when I rocked up to the house, I was in the car and I looked out the window and saw her walking down the road to the house and she was like adjusting her face makeup or something and looking incredible. Like I knew she'd taken time to get ready and she remembers, like in her words, she would say like when she was getting ready that day, she was getting ready like she was going to meet someone that she had a crush on, like took that extra time and tried on different dresses and was like, no, not this. And so then that's kind of when it clicked in her brain, and I think it clicked in mine because I was looking at like her walking down the street looking like an absolute fox, and then also just like she was doing something like putting lip stuff on or something, and then we were just at this house showing and we just flirted the whole time, and then the flirting never ended.
And it still hasn't ended, even though now you're an old married couple.
Yeah, we do a wedding once a year. We renew our vows. It kind of started because our first wedding was so shotgun. We married after 3 months kind of dating, which I think a lot of the world think we got married like a year later when really we kept it a secret.
Oh, you're right.
We got married like 3 months after we started fully kind of dating. And then obviously we called our family and we decided the day of, because we worked out we both had the day off the next day. So then we ended up deciding to go to Vegas and get married. Anyway, we called all our friends and family and they were all kind of like, what do you mean? Like they were very happy for us, but they were sad they were missing it. So we said, don't worry, we're going to do another one. So then we're going to do another one. So then the next one was in Palm Springs so that our friends in LA could come. And then my family's like, but we can't make it. So we're like, okay, we'll do another one. So then we did another one in Australia with all my family. And then this year we had other friends that missed out. So then we were like, okay, we'll do it. And then it just became the Wedding World Tour. So now we do a wedding every year. And, we're covering the base of a big wedding, which we probably, that most people have with over 100 guests. We're just slowly getting to all 100 guests worldwide.
10 at a time.
Yes.
And what, like your last one, it was medieval. Was the theme medieval and were you a knight?
I don't know what I was.
Yeah, what were you? Was it a costume shop or was it
No, so
like art directed?
yeah, no. So all our weddings are planned 1 week in advance or less, because our whole thing with weddings is we don't want to be stressed, because we hate stressful weddings and it should be about love. So everything is so last minute planned. So really I had to just look on Amazon and see what could get delivered in time. And I bought
What was the description? What was the description of the costume?
some like Renaissance medieval royal coat.
Yeah, right.
And then I bought a sword. I like the thought of having a sword. That was cool to me. So I bought a foam sword and a sword holder, and then I wore some of Chrishell's like leggings from her fitness, and then I just wore these boots that I'm wearing right now.
Yeah, right.
And
it was gorgeous. It was a bit Zelda-ish too.
Yeah, it was a bit fantasy. And we're not like into that stuff. It was kind of a joke. Like it was a week out from when we're meant to be getting married, because we always have to do it in July. And I think it was Chrishell was just like, what happens if we did a medieval wedding? And I just looked at her. I was like, oh, my God, that's so funny. Like we should get a lute player. And then Chrishell's like, we should get people who fight with swords. And we were making each other laugh. And then we happened to look on Airbnb and there was a castle around the corner that you could hire just as an Airbnb. So then we were like, all right, let's book it, and then let's find some people to fight with some swords.
You jousted. You jousted. Like you verbally joust. And in fact, the relationship between the two of you is very lovely. And the happiness between you is, you know, it's when you talk before about trolls and stuff. I'm like, partly I'm like, who can be bothered trolling in the face of what is objectively pure happiness?
Yeah. Still happens. Still people think that our relationship's fake. And we find that funny because, God, we hang out all the time. Imagine having a PR relationship, having to hang out with each other all day, live with each other.
Especially in Hollywood, because have you noticed as an Australian, I think part of the reason they love you is that you've got this really authentic, almost kind of old-fashioned Australian energy, you know, larrikin and a bit relaxed and have a laugh instead of getting angry and being open instead of closing the doors. So that to Hollywood must have been a shock.
Yeah. I think honestly just Chrishell not being with a man was the biggest shock. I think that really took Americans, and, you know, a lot of the Selling Sunset fan base isn't, you know, in states where it's, you know, really common to have queer relationships. Like Middle America's very like, you know, religious
traditional.
And it's it's trad. It's like so it was really shocking to see her in a not with like a 6-foot man, you know, like it was it really made people crazy. And especially at that time when we came out public in a relationship, like the DMs and just the things that I just couldn't believe how much it affected people's days. Like, you know, there'd be a Karen in Middle America just sweeping, and then they'd be just so angry, and then they'd have to get on their phone to like message me because they're just so furious that I'm with her. So yeah, it was very eye-opening to me about how people are homophobic or, you know,
scared of fearful of things, because I think fear and anger live kind of close to each other.
Yeah, it was really interesting, and it still happens, to be honest. I'm still getting DMs that people are so upset with my gender, or that I'm with Chrishell, or that I'm queer, or, you know, people are just, they're angry at it. But it really just, you know, in the end it kind of does amuse me that someone is literally driving to the shops to buy some cereal and bread and milk, and they just have to pull the car over to like message me how angry they are. Like, what a crazy way to live, you know, that you're just ticked off by someone existing.
But what you continue to do in the face of that is exist even more fully.
Yeah, 100%. I would never dull myself down.
And by the way, on an unrelated note, I was also doing the project the night Chrishell came in, which was not long ago. Oh my goodness, the response to her was so beautiful, just so beautiful.
Yeah,
she's a great one.
I know. I really lucked out.
She's a great one.
When my family found out like we're seriously going to be together, it wasn't just like a little fling. They all cried. They were like, because they just thought she was the best person they ever met. So,
because Chrishell's just spoken recently, and I've heard you speak before too about, and Chrishell's always been really open about the fact that she wants to have babies.
Yes.
And recently she came out and said that wasn't working out so well.
Yeah, the last few years, to be honest, it's an IVF. It's been a real struggle, and we've had so many ups and downs. And for anyone that goes through that whole process, like it really takes a toll, and there's, hopeful moments and then sad moments, and then there's a little bit of hope, and then it all backfires, and then it's starting again. So yeah, it's definitely been
and the hormones. The hormones are rough.
Hormones and the amount of needles, like it's crazy, and surgeries. And she's such a baller though. Whenever Chrishell has surgeries or has to go through anything where the doctor might give you pain medication, majority of the time she doesn't even take the medication. She's just a baller. Like her pain tolerance is insane. Like, so she's such a tough cookie, and I admire her. I admire just everything and how strong she is and how she's taking all, the news that we get. And she's so amazing, and she's such a brilliant and strong human being for everything she's gone through, not only with this whole process we're going through, but also her whole life. Like her story is pretty amazing, what she's got through to get to where she has. Her childhood was nothing like you would think. It was completely the opposite. So I just admire everything about her and where she's come from.
You're very yin and yang. There's something together that's so whole with the two of you together. I hope I hope your every dream comes true together.
Oh,
because you're delightful.
So sweet of you.
And individually, thank you for your gift of music and really being a great ambassador for Australia, which not every Australian is, but I truly believe that your spirit and you get up and go is just glorious.
That's very sweet. That's going to make me cry.
The future is a big place. You have to narrow it down slightly to what is coming up. It's Dream Ride.
Yes, album's coming out September 5th. It's called Dream Ride. It's a very 80s-esque kind of album. I went really hard into the 80s world sonically with like big reverb on the drums, and, every drum is me playing it, and a lot of sax solos and synth solos. And yeah, I'm really excited to release this record on September 5th.
We look forward to seeing you very much.
Yes. So I'm coming back to Australia late Feb and March to play shows in Brisbane, Sydney, Melbourne, Adelaide and Perth. And I can't wait to come and play shows. Playing shows is my favourite part about my job. And I spend a lot of time trying to make my live show as good as possible. And I've been working on it the last week. And yeah, it's going to be a ripper. So I can't wait. And I hopefully some people come out to see me. It's going to be good.
Oh, I think they will.
Jenny's brother comes to my shows, and they have a little girl who's a huge G-Flip fan. Their little daughter, so Jenny's niece. So it's very, very cute. And my last show I played in Melbourne, Jenny's bro and his wife came to that show, and they gave me a pair of Jenny's last drumsticks, which was really special.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Yeah, it was really nice.
Just the power of a teacher.
I know.
Unbelievable.
And that's what made me want to be a drum teacher. So then I followed in her. And then when she passed, I took over a lot of her drum students as well.
And then you dropped them to be G-flipping.
And then I became G-flip and I couldn't teach them anymore. But yeah, so yeah, Jenny's a big part, and I have Jenny-related tattoos all over my body too.
You deserve everything good. And also, what do you take to Cara Delevingne's party? What was in that big box? What was it?
Do you want to know?
Yeah.
I was literally like, this is really funny. Cara invited me to the party and I texted her and I was like, I'm going to get you a real strange present. She's like, I can't wait, looking forward to it. And then I was thinking, what do you get a girl that has it all? Like, she's got everything. What do you get her? And I was like, I bet she doesn't own bagpipes. So that photo with the present, there's bagpipes in there. Yeah. Yeah, that's
all right,
funny.
I guarantee something, and that is that you, G-Flip, will learn to play them before she does.
Do you know what? When I bought her the bagpipes, I might have bought myself some bagpipes too. Yeah, but she loved them. She thought they were great.
Oh, that's great. That's great. Well, Godspeed to you. Thanks for joining us on No Filter.
No,
thank you for showing yourself.
Thank you so much, Kate. I remember driving from Dingley Village to Cheltenham to go to school every morning and listening to you in the car, and your voice has always been such a calming, warm energy. So that's why I tear up, because you're like always growing up with you around. So thank you.
I love it. Love you.
Thanks, Kate. Okay, love you too, Kate.